What's going on, everybody? Thank you for coming back to the channel and checking these out. Greatly appreciate you. Seagull. Now, the Department of Education is about to be abolished. Toast. Get it out of here. America has learned enough. Not only do people not want drag queens reading to their kids, they want nobody reading to their kids. Burn a book, kick the building to hell, get it out of here. Department of Education getting dusted. The thing I find kind of funny about this is the head of it. The Secretary of Education is one Linda McMahon, former CEO of the WWE. Wrestling has, in a way, I talked about this 1,000 years ago on my old podcast, but every single thing is wrestling. Everything you see, everything you look at, it's all wrestling. All promo. Politics is full on in the Attitude Era at this point in time. Any politician who would like to get a higher name or a more popular right now, walk up to somebody you disagree with, and when they go, but you can't do that, that'll destroy a hospital, look them right in the eyes and go, I got 2 words for you, suck it. And people across this place will go, absolutely, they'll crotch chop a shed, and they will laugh, dance, joke, love it. Wrestling, outside of society, sunk education. It's pretty great. It is pretty great that the watching of oiled men in tights by basically children, for the most part, sunk society. You can't just watch wrestling anymore. I mean, I can't. I loved wrestling as a kid. Of course I did. What am I going to do? It was great. Wrestling as a child was awesome. It wasn't even that bad somewhat as an adult. To look at it, just to know the whole pageantry of it, I do like it. However, can't watch it anymore. It's the dark arts. It is the dark arts. Are you watching a wrestler, or are you watching a future somebody who's going to be the mayor of a town or the governor of a state, who's going to decide whether or not a company can poison a lake or whether or not a road gets fixed? Some guy, that used to be Jack the Tree Planter Jones, is going to decide whether or not a park gets publicly funded because people sat in an arena and watched them while eating popcorn. They watched a man throw another man through the Spanish announce table, only ever the Spanish announce table, to cheers, to chants, to quotes, and then one day go, yeah, that guy there who put an arm bar on the referee once, I think they should decide if this highway should be built. The person in charge of everything right now currently is in the WWE Hall of Fame. I was there. 2012, MetLife Stadium, WrestleMania 29. This man, along with Mick Foley and Bob Backlund, was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. At that time, booed mercilessly by 83,000 people. I would talk about this on, used to the show on Fox called Red Eye. Brought it up one time when he first came down the escalator, cut a whole promo, held up a bank statement saying he was worth $9 billion. I'm going to build a wall and get Mexico to pay for it. Sick. Awesome. I was like, this is a promo. This is a promo. Guys, he's in the WWE Hall of Fame. They all yelled at me. Commercial break. They stop and turn and go, you're making that up, right? No, I'm not making it up. Look it up. At this point in time, it doesn't matter at all, but it is a fact. The idea that a WWE Hall of Famer hired the CEO, former CEO of wrestling, to head the Department of Education, to be the Secretary of Education, a lady who at one point in time was telling, some guy not to inject steroids directly into his neck in front of the public bathroom at the Deep Ridge Dorito Dome Arena, now decides whether or not anyone, anywhere, can read to a kid inside of a building. It is interesting that wrestling destroyed, or is on its way to destroying, education, wrestling. And it makes a lot of sense. You can't compete with it. Go ahead. Are you a person that's like, I want kids to learn? Shut up, dork. What an idiot dork. If you were Jeff the Librarian Johnson, then people might listen. You had big biceps. You talked about spines. You said stuff like, we're going to start on the intro and we're the epilogue of this match. People go, great. That's awesome. But if you're just a person, an educator, blow yourself, pal. Go back to the vending machine and get more Doritos for lunch. Not interesting, not cool. Wrestling has decided that the Department of Education is no more. And in a weirder sense, wrestling already beat the Department of Education years ago from the inside. I know that when I was in school, buddy, man, guy, we did chants at teachers. We would do, people were RKOing people out of nowhere in cafeterias, hallways, classrooms, wherever. We watched a thing. We watched oiled men in tights and decided, why learn stuff? When a teacher says something like, do you have your homework? It doesn't matter if I have my homework. If you want to see me eat this muffin, give me a hell yeah. The Department of Education was already full tilt corrupted by wrestling years ago, before Linda McMahon became the Secretary of Education. Can somebody who is the head of education be a person maybe that was a professor of something, studied education maybe, something, went somewhere where the thing is about education, not just a person who was like, hey, Taz, maybe lose the towel tonight. And look, I like wrestling kind of for what it is. It is everything. It has shifted so much pop culture. If there was no Gorgeous George, there was no James Brown, there'd be no Muhammad Ali. Look it up. But the idea that we've gone with it to, it is a Ouija board. People can't handle it. They get onto it and they start asking questions like, should I go to school? Should I listen to a teacher? And a demon talks to them in chants, in slogans, in finishing moves, in excitement and pyrotechnics. How can any teacher anywhere compete with pyrotechnics? How? You walk into the classroom, change jingling in your pocket, old keys like a fob to an old car that barely runs. You have to sleep in it because you don't make enough money to even do this job, and nobody respects you for even trying. You're a dork. You got no theme song. You have no pyrotechnics. You walk into the room, hi, class. Even if you're a well-put-together teacher that people do kind of respect, your shirt's on. Your shirt's on. There's no commentary. You're not covered in oil. Nobody cares. Where are the biceps, bro? Where's your catchphrase? Where is it? Are you chanting anything? Are you standing at the front of the room holding up signs? Are you threatening other teachers? That'd help you. Look, I'm down here in biology, and if the math teacher wants to come to me and tell me that biology is not more important than math, I will break his ass in the teacher's lounge at lunch. Everybody's invited. You can't compete with it. You can't compete with entertainment as it is. But wrestling sunk all of it. When there's no more books, when there is literally just one book. It's called Wrestling. It's Dean Malenko's old handbook, 1,000 holds. Here it is, kids. Class 1, armbar. Class 2, lariat. Pretty fun. It's a pretty good time. I wonder where it will all lead to. Solely because what's crazy is if there was a drag queen in wrestling, people would have liked that. If Gold Dust had have read to kids in the 90s in a ring, it would have drew money. And I know dick about ass, but 100%, that man came into a ring and was like, I'm kind of gay. And people were like, boo, kick his ass. If he would have read to kids, people would have loved it. But if an actual drag queen reads to an actual kid, burn the school. And we'll have Linda McMahon do it. If I was a teacher, if I worked in the Department of Education, and I get a letter saying that Linda McMahon is firing me, no, she ain't. San Diego street fight. I want to brawl for all in the study hall. We're not settling this with a letter, Linda McMahon. This is a cage match in the parking lot. You can't compete with wrestling. Can't do it. Nobody can do it. Nobody is strong enough to defeat it. The only way to defeat it is to not look at it. And good luck, because people have and will and will continue to until the end of time. It beat the education system. It made, first of all, again, kids go to school and just tell a teacher to suck it in their eyes when they tell them to do a thing. Already won. But now, the former CEO of the WWE controls what even happens there. Might bulldoze a whole building and tell somebody to get fucked because they want to teach something to somebody, or you don't like the things that they're teaching. Wrestling won. Turn every single school into a ring. Squared circle. You want a degree? Wrestle for it. Iron Man match. If you can go 60 minutes with your professor in a ring in front of other students who are holding up signs like, my other dad's my mom, and whatever bullshit you want to hold up, drinking a giant Mountain Dew while chanting bullshit, then you get a degree if you can do that. Cage match with the head of the school. If you win, student loans are paid off. People go to that school. People love those schools. Do it. Knock down every wall of a school. Make them rings. The teacher's an announcer, students inside wrestling for grades. And again, I do truly appreciate wrestling for the pageantry of what it is and the fact that it is, every single thing uses wrestling's tactics to get people to pay attention to stuff, look at things. I mean, again, right now, attitude era of politics. Somebody could smoke somebody with a chair on the Senate floor. Other people would cheer. Cheer. Get up and start jerking themselves off at the idea that, oh, God, look at that. Mitch McConnell's about to give Marjorie Taylor Greene the 619. People would laugh, joke, ha, ha, ha. Great. No books for kids. Sick. Awesome. See where it ends up with the Department of Education not existing at one point in time. The Department of Education learned enough. Wrestling for life. Bookamania? Nope. No dice. It is chantamania. It is slogan-a-mania. It is hoop-ha, big biceps, great glutes, awesome tits, for life to hell. Entertain me until I'm dead. Thank you, wrestling, for owning the universe at this point in time. Pretty sick that, again, if you watch wrestling, what are you actually watching? Entertainment or a future owner of a place, city, town, whatever, deciding what goes into your family's food solely because they leg dropped somebody in Tokyo in 98 or 2008. They threw a guy through a flaming table. Sick. You decide what goes in the drinking water. Wrestling won. Won hard. Wrestling is now the Department of Education. Beat it. It won. Put your books, every one of your books right now, if you're in a school currently, put all the books on the floor. Give each one of them the people's elbow. Kick them out the door. Boom. Gone. Huh. Unreasonable. Now, a lot of this might not have made sense. I hope it did. There's going to be a lot of wrestling things in here that a lot of people aren't going to know. I apologize. Overarching thing. The Department of Education is being destroyed by wrestling. And wrestling, in a weird way, had already completely destroyed it by making people, again, no attention spans, want to go into a school and just chant things at a teacher who's trying to do shit, who can't do shit. There are stories of teachers. Like, I talked to one teacher. A kid tried to gouge the eyes out of another kid. Wrestling move. That might as well be the Hollywood Hogan. Ripped the eyes out of another kid, sent her to the office. The office sent him back a half hour later and was like, he's having a bad day. Having a bad day. Not worse. Not a worse day than somebody who went to a school to learn things about education who was then fired by a woman who at one point in time was catatonic for a story involving her husband cheating in front of her for months. Jesus, good God Christ. When you watch wrestling, if you watch wrestling, realize It is a dark art. It is a Ouija board. I do respect it. I do respect the wrestlers. But dear God, Christ, man, yo, it ain't just like a fun thing that you can watch a guy smoke a man in the face with a fluorescent light. It ain't just that. It goes a lot farther than that. It can lead to whoever hit the person with the light or the light recipient of walking into a building one day, running for a thing, destroying the Department of Education, or who knows what. God knows. The Department of Air, toast. We're just going to throw dust directly into everything. Department of Planes, look out. Look out. It was more fun to watch a guy give a rock bottom onto a bunch of thumbtacks than it is to know whether or not your JetBlue flight is going to make it somewhere. Ha ha, hee hee, suck it. Let me know what you think. Wrestling took over the Department of Education from the inside and the outside. Too strong of a thing to get away from. Watch yourselves. Let me know your thoughts. Please rate and subscribe, comment. Greatly appreciate you. I mean, all of this might have been nothing, but it is a thought, and I'm giving it to you. So thank you for checking these out. Greatly appreciate you. See you all later.